Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review for the new Maybelline Dream Velvet Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. And let me tell you, Maybelline has released a ton of new products and I've bought most of them and am testing them out, and I love this foundation. I'm going to tell you right off the bat right now. It is pretty amazing. The formula is like nothing else I've ever experienced before. It's a very moussey foundation, but you know how moussey type foundations in the past, they were heavy, they clogged your pores, they didn't look good. This is a whole different thing. This is absolutely incredible. It's hydrating, but yet it gives you a soft matte finish. And I have it on now, and as you can see, my skin, it looks like skin. It doesn't even look like I'm wearing foundation, but yet it covers what I want it to cover, and I am just so happy with it. I found it at a Christmas tree shop or a Harmon drugstore within a Christmas tree shop, but this will be showing up at any place that sells Maybelline soon because it's part of their launch for 2016. They've released a ton of new products, and I've purchased most of them, and I will be reviewing them. You know, I already am reviewing them. I've released some videos already, and more will be coming soon. So if there's some other product in this line that you are interested in, then, you know, just wait, and chances are there will be a video for that too. Speaking of which, if you go to the description box, I'm going to put an asterisk next to a lot of the products that I have on today because a lot of these are part of that new launch, and that will kind of give you a sneak peek of what is to come because I've been spending a lot of time testing these things out so that I can do my review videos. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to insert a clip of me applying the foundation and talking about some of the specifics about it right now. Okay, so something to take into consideration is what you put on prior to your foundation. Whatever you use for your morning skincare routine, whether it be moisturizer or something along those lines, what you use and how much of it you use is going to affect the way the foundation applies. And then primer. Do you use a primer? If so, what kind? So all these things are to be taken into consideration because, you know, depending on what you use, how rich it is, how much do you use, it's going to affect the makeup application process. So when I get out of the shower, I put on Cetaphil moisturizing lotion on my face, and then, you know, as I'm getting dressed and everything, time goes by, that sinks in. Then just prior to putting on this foundation, I use a primer. In this particular case, I used Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, and you know, that can vary because a lot of times I'm testing out new products and so forth, but I just like that one because it's easy and you just spray it on, and I just give that a minute to sink into my skin. Then I move on to the foundation. Now, I've been using a Beauty Blender sponge, but there is a sponge applicator that you can buy separately from the foundation itself that's by Maybelline, and what it looks like is a applicator on a stick. And I didn't get that because I figured I already have a Beauty Blender sponge. I have a couple of them actually, and I just am used to working with this and have no issues with it. I was a little concerned when I saw the Maybelline one because I thought by looking at it that it might have latex in it, but after tons of research, I finally found a place that answered that question, and no, it does not have latex in it. So if you don't already have a makeup sponge and you want to get the Maybelline one that they are selling with this, sure, why not? It's on a stick though, so I don't know if I would like that, but I think it's all in what you get used to. You know, I'm just used to this. Now, something else that you might want to take into consideration is if you do use a Beauty Blender sponge or one of the other sponges that are on the market now, like there's one by Real Techniques, there's a whole bunch of them. If you use something like this, you also need to take into consideration how wet you make this sponge, because what I usually do is I completely saturate it and then I squeeze out the excess and wait a minute. And so you can tell that by the size of this that, you know, it's very wet. So that's just the way I like to apply my foundation. But you can just dampen it a little bit if you want. It's entirely up to you. The more wet you make the sponge, the less coverage you're going to get. But I would prefer to just keep dabbing it on progressively until I get the coverage I want, rather than do it the other way around, because if you don't wet the sponge or dampen it to a certain degree, the makeup could look cakey. And don't even think that you're going to use this foundation with your fingers or a brush, because it's going to be a hot mess. You have to use a sponge to apply this, a damp to wet sponge. Just for kicks, I tried it with my fingers, and I tried it with a dry sponge, and no, you can't do that. It just doesn't work. It's not meant to be used that way. Okay, so I'm going to shake this up a little because it's a somewhat liquidy foundation, but it's more of like a mousse consistency. And then I put some on the back of my hand, and a little goes a long way with this. So be careful how much you squeeze out of the tube, because once you do that, of course, you can't get it back in. So I like to just start with a small amount and then just take my beauty blender and pounce it on the foundation, and then just start pouncing it onto my face. And you can see right away where it took down that redness. I would say in terms of coverage with this foundation, I would say medium. I mean, any foundation, you know, you can vary the coverage by how much you put on. But with some foundations, you can only go so far with it, and then it starts to look cakey. And I think this could be one of those. But by wetting the Beauty Blender sponge quite a bit, that will help prevent any cakiness. Now I'm going over my chin area a lot because I do tend to get some redness there. And just in case you're wondering, the only thing I have on right now is I put on some EOS lip balm, and then I did the primer. That's all I've done. I'm going to do, after I finish the foundation, I'm going to do my eye area, and then, you know, continue on with my normal steps. So I just have lip balm and primer. And then I'm going to dab a little bit right on the eye area, because that's what I would normally do with my foundation, because that will give me more options in terms of eyeshadow bases. If I have a little bit of foundation on there, then I don't have to worry so much about veining and discoloration and that sort of thing, because this will cover it. Then I can use whatever I want for an eyeshadow base, so it just gives me more options. Okay, so the amount that I showed you, I feel is the perfect amount for me and my skin, because, you know, different people have different issues with their skin. I think it looks pretty even. I think it looks like skin. Whether you choose to powder on top of this is totally up to you, but I love the finish of this so much that I only use powder that I have to when I put my concealers on, and then I powder over that. Sometimes I put just a little bit of powder on my chin and maybe the tip of my nose to ensure that I take down any redness that is left. So I've got nothing left on the back of my hand. My skin looks like skin. This is a hydrating formula. So anytime that it has the word hydrating in it, probably not a good idea for someone with oily skin to buy this. I mean, you have plenty of options out there. But yeah, this would be better suited to, I would say, normal to dry skin. It says soft, matte, hydrating foundation. So I think it's beautiful. I think this is about as close to natural as you're going to get with a foundation on. The texture, like I said before, is like a mousse type texture. So very unusual, because with mousse type texture foundations, all the ones that I've ever used in the past, they felt very heavy and sticky and could sometimes cause breakouts. This isn't like that at all. This is a very light, whipped mousse texture. You don't even feel it on your face. It feels fantastic because it's hydrating, and what you're left with is exactly what you would want it to be. And then anything else you have going on there, you know, you can go in with concealer and all the stuff to cover up any other flaws that are going on. But yeah, so that's my little demo. So I guess that's it then. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.